Okay, now that you guys know how to solve systems of linear equations by graphing by hand, I am now going to show you guys, or actually just remind you guys, how to solve graphing problems in your calculator. So this is actually a worksheet. I'm only going to go over probably one of these problems just to kind of show you what I'm expecting. And so we'll just start with, we'll do number 4. Okay, and it says find the solutions to the following systems of equations, and it does say round your solution to the nearest tenth, meaning sometimes the points are not going to come out perfectly. So if we look at number 4, the very next column says that we want to put them in y equals mx plus b form. These are in standard, ax plus by equals c. So again, I said I was going to do number 4, and what I'm going to do is show the work down at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to fold my paper. Okay. So number 4 says x minus y equals 0. So the first thing that I have to do is change that into y equals mx plus b form. So again, we want to get y by itself. That means we need to move the x using opposite operations. So I would subtract x and subtract x. That leaves me with negative y on the left. And then I have 0 minus x. I don't really need the 0, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. And then the y is still not by itself because of the negative, so we're going to divide by negative 1. So this divides out on the left, leaving me with just y. 0 divided by negative 1 is still 0. And then remember, this is negative 1 divided by negative 1. So that would be positive 1x. Okay. So up here in this box where it says y equals mx plus b, our first equation is going to be y equals 0 plus 1x. That can also just be written as y equals 1x. I'll go ahead and put that, or y equals 1x. Now let's do the second equation. 5x minus 3y equals 10. Same thing, we need to get y by itself, so the first thing I'm going to do is move x to the other side. Remember, we do that using opposite operations. Again, remember, we cannot subtract 10 minus 5 because this has an x and this doesn't. So on the left I've got minus 3y. On the right I have 10 minus 5x. And then again, to get rid of the negative 3, I'm going to divide. And remember, we have to divide everything by negative 3. So this divides out, leaving me with just y. And then on the right, 10 doesn't divide by 3, but if you weren't sure, we could put it in the calculator. 10 divided by negative 3, it gives us a decimal. Remember, we do math, we go frac, enter, and we still get negative 10/3. Good. And then over here we have negative 5 divided by negative 3, so we're going to do that one. Again, it gives me a decimal, so I'm going to math, frac, enter, and it gives me 5/3. So notice our equations are not very pretty, okay, and then we're going to write this one in our box as well. So this is y equals negative 10/3 plus 5/3 x. So then we've moved the equations into y equal mx plus b. So the next column says that they want us to sketch the graph. So if we go into y equals in our calculator, we want to clear out whatever's there. And now we want to type in our two equations. So the first one is 0 plus 1x, or just y equals 1x. I'm going to go ahead and type in the 0 just so you guys can see it doesn't matter. The second equation is this one. Remember, when you put fractions in the calculator, you must use parentheses. So parentheses -10 divided by 3, and then plus parentheses 5 divided by 3, and then x. And we're going to hit graph. Now, if your calculator looks like this, that means it's kind of messed up. Okay, what I need you guys to know is that anytime your calculator doesn't look right, you can go to Zoom and you can pick standard. We want a standard 10 by 10 graph. So there's y equals 1x, and then the second equation is y equals -10 plus 5/3. So we're going to go ahead and sketch that graph. And I'm just going to make this whole box into my 10 by 10 screen. And then we're kind of going to make it look the same. So there's maybe the first one. And the second one kind of comes in over here at about 2 and goes up like this. Okay. Notice it's not real accurate. It just says sketch the graph. And then what I want you to do is kind of put a point where you think the solution is. The next thing you're going to do is actually use your calculator to solve. And if you need to, you can write the steps up top. So after we put the equation in, we need to go to the calculate menu. So up here at the top, the first thing we're going to do is go to second trace, okay, which is actually the calculate menu. So again, we're going to do second, which is the blue button, and then we're going to go to trace. Now remember, to solve, we're looking for the intersection. So we're going to go down here to where it says 5. You can either hit 5 or scroll down. And then notice it says first curve. Sorry, I'll put this up here. 5, we want the intersection. So what it's asking you to do is to travel along the line towards the intersection. Okay, and you have to use your left and right arrows. So I'm going to use my right arrow, kind of get close to what I think the intersection is, and then hit enter. Now it says second curve. You should be pretty close to the intersection. If you want to move it a little bit, you can. Enter. And then it says guess. We don't care, so we're just going to hit enter. And it tells me that the intersection of these two is the point 5, 5. So really it's enter, enter, enter. And it tells you the intersection. So where it says solution, we're going to write it as an ordered pair 5, 5. Now remember, this is x and this is y. So when we do a check by table, meaning we should be able to find the solution in the table, you're going to want to put whatever this x value is in the middle. Okay? So now let's look at the table. Again, you can do that by doing second graph, because right there is the word table. So second graph takes me to the table. Now, conveniently, mine started at 4, but if it didn't, remember, I can scroll up and down. And then we're going to write the 4, 5, and 6 line. So this is 4, 5, 6. And then 4 in this one is 4. This one's 5. This one's 6. And then in this column, 4 is 3.3. Notice it says round to the nearest tenth, so we just need one decimal. So 3.3, 5, and then 6.7. Notice y1 and y2 are the same in this column. Now, in this case, the x just so happens to be the same, but they don't have to be. So 5, 5, 5, these two have to match. And if they do, you found the answer. So you guys need to do 1, 2, and 3, and then 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then there are a couple problems on the back. I hope this makes things pretty simple. If you have any questions, make sure to ask.